Some of the best software companies in the world were started about 10 years ago, the last time we had a really tough economic environment. So in this video, I'm going to be walking you through exactly why they were able to thrive in such a tough economic period and the 3 lessons that you can actually employ as you are building your SaaS business and growing it in a tough environment like today. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, author of the book, How to Punch the Sunday Jitters in the Face, entrepreneur, startup founder, and I also run the SaaS Startup School, where I help you go from 0 to 3 million ARR real fast. On this channel, I bring an episode every Sunday and every Wednesday now to help startup founders like you build and execute on an unstoppable strategy for your SaaS business. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. So the last time we had a really tough economic environment, this was 2008, 2009, companies like Uber, Slack, Twilio, WhatsApp, and even Stripe was started. During that crazy time when the entire world was melting down, these incredible companies that are either pre-IPO or have already IPO'd or been acquired were actually being started. So what was it about those companies that made them wildly successful in a period of time when everyone was hurting? On this episode, I'm going to be digging into exactly why they were able to thrive and the 3 lessons that you can implement so that as you start a SaaS business today, or if you're already operating a SaaS business, how you can apply these 3 principles, these 3 lessons, so that you can thrive in this environment as well. If you're excited to dig in, smash that like button and let's jump right in. So let's talk about the why first. Why was it that these companies in such a tough environment were able to thrive? Well, the first reason was in order to survive at that period of time, they had to focus on hard and essential problems. If you look at any of these companies, they weren't creating frothy time problems and solutions. They were looking at, okay, companies were hurting, consumers were hurting. What are the most essential problems that we needed to solve? And they just focused on those. And in fact, it was almost a survival of the fittest. There was no way they would have survived if they hadn't found a way to focus on the most essential problems they could actually solve for. So almost automatically, their survival rate was more likely because they were forced to actually focus on essential problems. The second was because so many other companies were cutting down, there was a lot more talent available. Meaning, in a frothy environment, when everyone's raising money, everyone's starting companies, the distribution of talent is spread out across different companies. But on a tough time like this, with layoffs, with furloughs, and when people just start to reevaluate how they want to be spending their lives and what they want to be working on, talent started to get more focused and more concentrated. There's just more talent available. And because of that, these companies were able to bring on early talent that were able to help them thrive through tough times, just like right now. And the third reason was that there's just less shiny distractions. One of the tweets I saw recently was Paul Graham talking about the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, when San Francisco and Silicon Valley were just a bunch of nerds just building things. Over the last few years, it's gotten a lot shinier. San Francisco is just a lot fancier, and it's a lot more expensive to even live in. And one of the things that's powerful about downturns like this, economic environments like this, is that it flushes out all that fancy stuff and just forces you to just focus on what's important. It lets you actually put your head down, not have FOMO, and just focus on what matters, which is to create value and to solve really hard problems. If you look around now, you'll start to notice that we're in a similar economic environment. And we don't really know what's going to happen post the actual pandemic being resolved or being addressed. And we don't really know what the timeline for that is. However, a lot of these things are happening right now. There's more talent available than ever before. There's less shiny objects than ever before. And more than anything, companies are being forced to focus on the most essential problems in order to survive. So the question becomes, well, what are the 3 things you need to actually apply to your SaaS business? If you're starting one right now, or if you're in the process of building and growing your SaaS business, what are the 3 things you actually need to apply? So before we dig into it, if you're with me and you're actually thinking about starting a SaaS business, can I just get a yes in the comments below? That way I know who you are and we can connect through our other channels. Also, I have a special 10-point SaaS business checklist that you can follow. I'll link to it below and also tell you more about it at the end of this video so you can learn more about it. Now let's talk about the 3 things that you actually need to apply, okay? So the first thing, if you're actually building a SaaS business and starting a SaaS business, you actually want to be one of these companies where 10 years from now, hopefully you're IPOing or exiting and you create that truly long-lasting company and you want to take advantage of this environment. The first thing you actually want to be thinking about is to focus on a critical workflow. You need to be focused on a very, very critical workflow in order for your SaaS business to matter, to survive, and to actually close deals right now, which is what you're going to need to be able to do and prove to move forward. Critical workflows are usually close to revenue. These are the workflows that usually ensure that the sales team is closing deals, the marketing team is generating leads, and the HR team and the finance teams are getting everyone paid on time. So you want to be staying as close as possible to a critical workflow like that, and that way you'll be focusing on, remember, the hard and essential problems. That's the core thing. The second thing is companies today, when they think about software, when they think about evaluating software and buying software, they're going to be limited to only 2 drivers. They're either going to be looking to cost savings or actually to accelerate growth. The cost savings is the most easiest one. If you're going to go out there and position your SaaS software, you need to show how they're going to save money by actually buying your software, because every single business is going to be figuring out how to actually reduce their costs. Usually, their biggest cost line are people. So if your software can actually do the work of more people, then that's an easier way to actually reduce costs. Other ways to reduce costs is actually to reduce risk and reduce the amount of time required to do certain activities. You gotta focus on that specific value proposition. By the way, my next video, I'm gonna be talking about specific SaaS value propositions. And so be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon if you're not subscribed already, that you'll get notified when I drop that episode. The other driver that companies are gonna use is growth. There are going to be a set of companies that are going to be under control. They have their cash straightened out. They have their growth plans recasted. And then they're going to be saying, okay, what do we need to do to actually move ahead? What strategic initiatives can we do that will actually help us grow faster and come out stronger after this downturn is over? And this downturn will be over at some point. So there will be some companies that are going to be trying to look ahead of the curve and investing to actually grow bigger than their competitors. So the other thing you can do in addition to cost savings is focusing on growth. How can you help them make more money? How can you help them leverage the current circumstances now so they can get ahead? And your value proposition has to be tied to one of these 2 things, cost savings or growth. And it has to be close to a critical workflow. And the last thing is their bullshit meters and buyers' bullshit meters are higher than ever. They are on the hook to watch every single dollar as closely as possible, which is why so many of these companies 10 years ago when they started thrived, because they were forced to build a muscle to actually show ROI. And that's my third thing. You actually have to have a clear view on how to show and measure ROI for your software. You need to be able to demonstrate how you're going to measure it. You need to be able to demonstrate how you're going to show the results quickly, and you need to be able to show how you did it for other customers. And there's a very specific process around this, and you need to actually do it right. And I'll probably do a separate video on this. If you want me to do that, hit me in the comments below and say I want you to do a video on ROI. I'll be sure to bubble that up on the list. So to summarize these, number 1, you need to make sure it's part of a critical workflow. Number 2, you need to make sure that there's either cost savings or growth. And number 3, you need to show that there's a clear way to show or measure ROI. I'll give you one more bonus. This is also a time of opportunity for every SaaS business. Now, if you're in a space and you're impacting a critical workflow that already has software, and you have an older software vendor, if there's a vendor that's a little bit older and they're not as innovative, they're not as nimble, and there's some sort of shift where you can actually do it better, faster, cheaper, this is an opportunity for you. If there's a piece of software that these companies literally cannot do their jobs, but you can go in and do it cheaper with cost savings, or you can do it in a better way, you have an opportunity right now to displace the model. You have an opportunity to actually take over and disrupt an existing space. SaaS businesses get disrupted faster than ever because it's easier than ever to actually reinvent SaaS software and come up with a better way to do it at a lower cost. And so this is also an opportunity for you to go in with existing categories and completely displace them if you can find a way to completely shift that model. So now you know how to position your software business to thrive during a recession or a downturn or a tough economic environment, however you want to characterize this right now. Now, if you're really looking to start a SaaS business and you really want to get the value proposition right and you get all the pieces right and really apply some of these things I talked about, I created a 10-point SaaS business checklist. It's a checklist that you can follow to actually flesh out the beginnings of your SaaS business. You can follow the link below to go download that. It's completely free, and I'll walk you through it step by step when you download it. And lastly, if you're thinking about starting a SaaS business, you should also check out my SaaS School. Over there, we teach you end-to-end how to go from 0 to 3 million ARR real fast. And we'll be sure to link to that in the guide once you download it. If you enjoyed this video and got value from it, please smash that like button. If you have friends that are thinking about starting SaaS businesses or SaaS founders that are looking to grow in this tough economic environment, please share the video with them as well. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. But when you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I will see you in the next episode.